Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to Como Park High School as TSV Television continues its coverage of high school basketball. Mike Beaton here. We have a Class 3A non-conference matchup for you featuring the Minneapolis Washburn Millers and the Como Park Cougars. Washburn at 4-2, Como Park at 2-3. We'll talk more about the teams in a moment. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for the visiting Washburn Millers. Lucia Renikoff, the 5'8 junior guard, will get the start. Emma Shepard, 5'8 junior guard, number 12, will also be on the floor. Chase Coley, number 23, 6'3 senior forward, number 42, Kenda Zellner-Smith, 6' junior forward, and number 45, Natalie Holdall, 5'10 senior forward. Como Park will start Winter George Summer, 5'1 sophomore guard. Number 3, Zanash Jerdrum, 5'6 junior guard. Number 10, Alex Peterson, 6' senior center. Number 15, Andrayah Adams, 5'8 sophomore guard. And number 20, Abigail Peterson, 5'11 senior forward. Players to watch, Minneapolis Washburn, it's the inside-outside tandem of Chase Coley and Lucia Renikoff. Chase Coley leads the state in rebounds, blocks, and steals at the moment in the early portion of the season. Lucia Renikoff, 6th in the state in steals, 41% three-point shooter, so a long-distance threat, which is a rarity at the prep level. They are going to be hooking up frequently, as they have already in the early part of the season. St. Paul Como Park's player to watch is Andrayah Adams. She averages nearly 21 points per game, has scored 20 or more in the last 4 games for the Cougars, and she is moving up the scoring rankings on the state level. In her conference, she leads the St. Paul teams in that mark. Minneapolis Washburn picked up a couple of big wins over Rochester Century was the most recent one, and Duluth East. They play Minneapolis Roosevelt on Friday, and then a game against Edina, which we'll have for you here on TSB Television. St. Paul Como Park still figuring themselves out. They've been playing shorthanded as of late, but after a blowout loss to Park Center, are finding a groove and are becoming the competitive team that a lot of speculators expected to see. Como Park wearing the black, Washburn wearing the white. We are underway here in St. Paul. This is Lucia Renikoff, over to Chase Coley. Coley finds Renikoff deep in the corner. Three-pointer is short. Rebound going to number 20, Abigail Peterson. And Alex Peterson gets the hook to fall. Como Park gets on the board. But they catch, Washburn catches Como falling asleep in a transition bucket for Emma Shepard to get the offense going for the Millers. Summer George starting in place of Caitlin Adams. As we mentioned, Como Park going through illness and injury. Had just 6 players available in their games against Maranatha Christian Academy and De La Salle. And despite the short roster, they almost took down De La Salle on the road at their home facility. The 3-time defending 3A state champions, 55-53 loss, and they had a chance to win it in the final possession. Shepard, short on the three-pointer, picked up by Abigail Peterson, but she loses the handle, and it's picked up by Jerdrum. Here's Andrayah Adams, just a sophomore. Finds Peterson on the outlet, and she scores. Alex Peterson has 4 points. Shepard, short, rebound, Abigail Peterson. Andrayah Adams takes the ball up, as we mentioned, about 21 points per game, leading the St. Paul City Conference. Euro step, but a steal by Holdall. Holdall, one of the returning players. Washburn with a lot of veterans coming back for this Class 3A team. They were in 2A a year ago. Chase Coley, yes, on the dish from Renikoff. Tied up at 4 in the opening minutes. And John Robinson, the Como Park head coach, will call a timeout. This will give us a chance to go over the keys to the game for both teams. Como Park defense, that's a simple one. And getting productivity out of Alex Peterson. She averages about 10 points per game, but Como Park doesn't have a lot of options beyond Andrayah Adams. They're looking to diversify the offense. Minneapolis Washburn wants to contain Andrayah Adams for that reason. They're going to want to watch the Peterson twins and challenge their level of physicality, even with an athletic group and the versatility of Chase Coley. Tyler Coley, the Washburn head coach, noted the team has a tendency to shy away from contact, and they want to pick up on that facet. Washburn, as we noted, playing a tough non-conference schedule. They started the year against Lakeville South. Their other loss also came against a 4A group in Woodbury, but that loss was by 2, and Washburn believed that game should have been theirs. We mentioned Edina on Saturday, New Richland on January 18th. A lot of high-quality teams, Como Park doing the same thing. Traveling violation called on Andrayah Adams, so she turns it over. Here's Coley finding Zellner Smith. She is blocked by Peterson. Alex Peterson is called for the foul. Zellner Smith will shoot free throws. Zellner Smith with just 3 attempts coming into this game. Averages 4.3 points per game. Solid rebounder though, 7.7. Gives them a defensive asset. But her form needs a little refinement. Zellner Smith will line up in the post. Got her own rebound, but it goes off her leg. 45% field goal shooter is Zellner Smith. So they come up empty on that possession, but a double team works. Emma Shepard with the pick. Stops, missed the mid-range J. Fights for her own rebound though. Renikoff going inside to Coley. Coley no. Adams with the rebound and keeps it alive for the Cougars. Summer George finds Peterson. Alex Peterson has all of Como Park's points, but right now that's enough to give them a 6-4 lead. This is a much more fluid team than Park Center when you had the opening day jitters, a late start. Nothing was going right for that group. Turnover on the Millers. They don't have the most talented group in Class 3A, but they are productive. Abigail Peterson loses the ball on the dribble. Here's Renikoff as a 2-on-1. Stops, pops, and switches it for her first field goal. Renikoff averaging 14.7 points per game, as we mentioned, in the top 10 in steals. And her three-point shooting also in the top 10. Jerdrum missing the jumper. It will stay with Como Park. Another thing we'll be watching for this week is the career blocks record that Chase Coley is closing in on. So you had 47 blocks coming into this game. Here's a transition play for the Millers, and Emma Shepard will go to the line. Chase Coley, coming into this game, was 43 away from the state record held by Savannah Trapp. She will need a few more games. But that is one statistic we're keeping an eye on. She already holds the record for most blocks in a game and a single season. Shepard at the line coming in was 4 of 9, 44%. As a field goal shooter, much more accurate, much more effective there, 35%. Washburn has missed all 4 of their free throws so far. And a push foul is going to be called on Zellner Smith. 14 minutes left in the first half. .6 the score. We are tied up. As we mentioned, both teams. Cross-court pass is stolen by Holdall. Those are dangerous. Holdall can't make them pay for it, though, and Adams boxes out Coley for the rebound. They find Jerdrum. Adams to Jerdrum for the score. And that is an example of the increased vision of Andrayah Adams, in the words of John Robinson, able to dictate the game based on the flow, based on what she sees, and getting better as a ball handler. .6 is her scoring total coming into this game, and as we said, 20 points or more in the last 4 for the Cougars. That game against Park Center was just rough for everybody. Jerdrum was looking for Alex Peterson. It's deflected away. Coley with the steal. She's in the top 10 in that category as well. Washburn will keep possession. Renikoff in the corner. Finds Zellner Smith. Fouled, and the basket counts. That gets Zellner Smith on the board. And we'll have our substitution. Holdall going out. In comes Olivia Downing. And Zellner Smith makes her first free throw of the season. Washburn with a 9-8 lead thanks to that three-point play. Como Park attempting to execute transition, can't do so. And Jerdrum got off her pivot, a traveling violation. Health and some personal issues have afflicted Como Park, and that is one reason why they had to play a couple of games with just 6 players available for the varsity roster. That said, last year they put up a reasonable fight in the section, came close to beating Hill Murray, the team that advanced, and could do so again. But they drew a much tougher draw with the realignment. Zellner Smith gets her own miss, can't put it in though. Alex Peterson with the rebound. Here's Andrayah Adams. Abigail Peterson, short on the triple. Jazanae Patterson racing for the rebound, has a 2-on-1. Beats the check of Peterson. Downing gets the roll. Washburn up 11-8. Adams is rejected by Coley. It's picked up, though, by Cynthia Politschek. Adams, open for 3. Rims out. Rebound, but no finish for Abigail Peterson. Here's Chase Coley with the rebound. Coley has 6 double-doubles and 1 triple-double in the early stage of the season, and she will go to the line. And one facet that has improved significantly for Chase Coley is her free throw shooting. Last year, those numbers were at about 60% through the first 6 games of this season. She has bumped that figure up to 87%. The motto that she and the rest of the Washburn team adopted this season takes a page from Russell Wilson, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. Consistent, dominant, clutch. And those words could accurately describe Chase Coley and the leaps she has made already in the early stage of the season. Makes both free throws, and Washburn has a 5-point lead. Winter Summer George was poked away by Renikoff. Summer George listed at 5'1", and that might be generous. Also in the game for the Cougars, number 25, Jasmine Thomas, not to be confused with the WNBA player of the same name. We're going to have a foul on Jasmine Patterson. That Jasmine Thomas spells her name with an E. And as you may have seen in the Tartan game, Washburn has a deep roster, perhaps deeper than last year. Right now you see Shanye Wesley in the game. Thomas gets the inbound. Peterson, Coley I think got a hand on it, she picks it up. Here's Renikoff, finds Downing, long two, is good. Foul is called. I believe it will go against Patterson. And while the Washburn Millers had some foul trouble against Tartan the last game we broadcast, or we covered on this station, their deep roster allows them to absorb those fouls. Adams. That would have been good. That was a great juke too, creating her own space, but she came up short on the triple. Washburn on a 9-2 run. Make that 11-2 on another dish from Renikoff to Coley. Coley up to 6. Looking to keep that double-double streak active. Had a double-double in all but 2 games. That's a 2-pointer for Durdrum. She stepped on the line, but Como Park needing that basket in a big way. Steal by Abby Peterson as Washburn tried to go inside again. Como Park lost the first 2 games of the year, picked up some wins against South St. Paul and Richfield before losing to De La Salle in a game that they easily could have taken away. De La Salle struggling. That's going to be a foul that will send Adams to the line. In that game, they had a chance to win it, but didn't realize the opening they had. That foul will be on Chase Coley, her first. And Adams officially enters the scoring column for this game. Her season high is 27. And not playing at 100% in the words of John Robinson, playing a little banged up, but only a sophomore, has plenty of room to grow. Who knows where she could end up in the scoring race. Renikoff out to Downing. Patterson, that's a 17-footer. That's going to fall short. And the rebound going to Durdrum. She used up her dribble, though. Finds Adams, who will get things in control. She'll pull up for 15. Swish. Adams up to 4 points. And Como Park has reduced the deficit to 3 with just under 9 minutes to play in the first half. Downing in the corner, doesn't see an opening. They'll swing around. Is that going to be a traveling? Yes. Patterson tried to shake the double team, could not get through the hole. Deflection. So Adams is able to save it without a backcourt violation being called, but some stingy defense by Shanye Wesley, not afraid to get in the personal space. But they can't stop Como Park. Abigail Peterson scores. The Peterson twins, pretty consistent. Abby gets about 10 points a game. Alex, 8.8. John Robinson would like to see a little more out of them, but it's good to have a couple solid role players. Dead ball rebound to Washburn. And Como Park, after an 11-2 mark, they've scored the last 8. Downing can't end that streak. Abigail Peterson with the rebound. Adams out to Abby Peterson for 3. Airballs it. Heads up play by Jerdrum. Coley was going to let it go. Didn't see Jerdrum from behind. Jerdrum swats it off of Coley to get the dead ball rebound over to the Cougars. Tight game in the first half. A much more revitalized Como Park team. Adams with the high arcing kiss off the glass. This is a much more revitalized team, but Emma Shepard will try to calm the tide. She drains the 3. It's 20-18. Washburn leads. The Como Park playing with much more energy and focus than their Park Center contest. Adams misses the pull-up. Holdall with the rebound. Coley launching the 3. She has yet to make one from behind the arc. Backdoor pass off the mark. Coley, she can't hit it. Gets the rebound off to Renikoff though. And Shepard misses. A lot of O boards, but nothing to show for it from the Miller side. Adams weaving through, kicks out. Peterson for 3. Short. Coley with the defensive rebound. Renikoff launching. Bullseye. 5 points for Renikoff. Score should be 23-18. It reached 22-18. We'll get that sorted out. Jerdrum with the counter. Jerdrum up to 7 points. Her season high is 10. Shepard was looking to go inside, but passes into a lot of traffic. And now Summer George from the corner. That would have been huge for the Como Park morale. They're still calling it a 2-pointer on Renikoff, so we'll go with that for now, but I thought it was a 3-pointer on our end. She does draw the foul, though, on Alex Peterson, so free throws will be coming her way. Renikoff, as we said, 14.7 points per game, 4.7 steals per game. And was a strong free throw shooter, but missed that one. 85% coming into this game. And a decent field goal shooter as well at 43. Her adjusted numbers, for those of you into the Moneyball figures, is 51%. But she bricks both. Chase Coley, though, gets the offensive rebound and will score the 2 points the old-fashioned way. So it's 24-21. Jerdrum didn't have much help, walked into the wall, and that's going to leave Washburn open. Renikoff will leave that one empty, though. She missed another point-blank layup similar to that in the Tartan game. Adams, though, draws the foul. Washburn had two to give. But Tyler Coley, before the game, talked about the need to finish the need to close out. He felt they underperformed in that aspect against Tartan, even though they won by 8. Here's Peterson posting up. She can't do it around Coley, though, the 6'3" body. Holdall out to Shepard. Driving baseline. And she draws the push foul. Como Park now out of fouls to give. Inbounding it is Aaliyah Wilson, number 11. Patterson, long 2. Can't get the bounce. Pollitt's check with the rebound. Under pressure, though, full court coming from Washburn's end. It pays off in a steal for Coley. She'll dish to Shepard. And Shepard will get the basket, give an assist to Coley. Coley averaging 5.3 a game as a post player. Como Park, that's deflected, so it will stay with the Cougars. And that's one area, one category Washburn will have an advantage in, as you see all the players subbing in, is their depth. Como Park doesn't have that same luxury. But draining the 15-footer is Abigail Peterson. That puts her up to 4. 26-23. Wilson inside to Coley. Coley posts up, but her hook is off the rim. Thomas had the rebound. Here's a running Jerdrum, who banks it in. Jerdrum 1 away from her season high. It's a 1-point game. Patterson, long 2. Off the heel, rebound, Summer George. Winter, all 5'1", drives it home. George Summer, I should say, Winter George Summer. And it looks like we're gonna have a timeout call. Nope, they're gonna hold off. But Como Park has the lead. Coley swings around and draws a foul. That was a smart play. She didn't have the angle. So she'll try to score from the free throw line. As you may know, Chase Coley heading to the University of Iowa next season. After the loss to New Richland and the 4th place finish in the 2A bracket, Tyler Coley has noted an increased level of vocal communication from Coley, although she misses both free throws there. Jasmine Thomas in trouble. Tried to pass behind, and that was asking for trouble, but Emma Shepard bails him out with a traveling violation. Tyler Coley's going to call a timeout with 3:02 left. Washburn looking completely disorganized here in the last few minutes. And Como Park, a team that's still looking to find their groove, but they're coming up with some big plays here. And one thing they have picked up on from that Park Center game to now is attaining that confidence in competing with the top teams. This is a interclass matchup, 3A against 3A. They're in different sections, but it's possible they could see each other in the state tournament should both teams advance. Como Park in the same section as Park Center and De La Salle, so they'll have that to deal with. Washburn has Benilde St. Margaret's, a team with the U of M recruit and Grace Coughlin. Richfield having a down year, but they could turn things around by March. So by loading the schedule with high-quality teams, as Coley swats that pass, 6'3" against 5'1", you're not going to get much past her. But loading the schedule with these high-quality teams allows you to get the conditioning. Patterson with the steal. Emma Shepard Emma Shepard draws a foul. She has had a rough week or so. Washburn out of fouls to give, but having trouble finishing on set plays and on fast breaks. Holdall swooped up for the steal, but ran out of real estate. 2:42 left in the first half. Como Park leads 27-26 over the Washburn Millers. Washburn, you feel, should be up by more. They're forcing a lot of steals, as they do there. That's Aaliyah Wilson, but they're having trouble in transition, bricking a lot of shots. Holdall saves it, but Patterson can't handle it, and Washburn turns it over. Certainly one of the more challenging games in the early part of the season. Washburn, though, has been tested significantly. We mentioned they started the year against Lakeville South, one of the top 4A teams. Edina, a perennial. They get them on Saturday. Here's Jerdrum. She misses from 17. Renikoff picks up the rebound. And now they'll settle things down. Renikoff gets the pass inside to Coley, but she can't hang on to it. She draws the foul on Polachek, and because Como Park is out of fouls to give, it's a bonus situation. 1-1 for Chase Coley. Although she missed her last 2 free throws, she's 2 of 4 for the game. Coley now 4 of 6 at 10 points overall for the game. Washburn up 28-27. Adams doesn't see a hole. She kicks out. Renikoff almost came from behind for the steal. Peterson, short. Jasmine Thomas with the rebound, but not a great angle. Coley picks it up. Renikoff on the run. Jump ball, Como Park with the possession arrow. Adams, bullseye. Andrayah Adams up to 9 points. Como Park up 30-28. Again, I believe Renikoff made a 3-pointer. Coley on a backdoor play to Shepard. They've hooked up a couple of times. We're tied at 30. We'll check the scoring at halftime. Como Park, though, on the run, and Jasmine Thomas gets on the board. Offense picking up in pace in the final minute. Wilson out to Coley. Coley has not made the long-range shots so far, and that is one area she had improved on. Avoids the foul. Adams, though, kicks out to Jerdrum. Jerdrum can't get the bounce. Coley with the rebound. Washburn has 12 seconds, but Coley can't get the pass cleanly to Wilson, and Como Park will have a chance to extend the lead before halftime. .5 seconds, plenty of time for the Cougars to make a move. And they're going to give it to Adams. Almost at the three-pointer, and that will be all the time we have. First half comes to an end, but Como Park, perhaps surprisingly, up 32-30 over the Minneapolis Washburn Millers as we enter the halftime intermission. We'll pause, go over the numbers for you, and come back for the second half. This is high school girls basketball. And welcome back to Como Park High School as we continue our coverage of high school basketball. The Cougars up 32-30 over the Washburn Millers, and Renikoff's basket has been ruled a two-pointer, at least to our knowledge. So that's what we'll go with. Let's take a look at the first half numbers, though, for you. Chase Coley leads the Millers with 10 points. Emma Shepard has 9. And then with 4 points each, Zellner Smith, Downing, and Renikoff. Como Park, Andrayah Adams and Zanash Jerdrum both have 9. Alex Peterson has 6. Abby Peterson has 4. Jasmine Thomas has 2. But Como Park, as we mentioned, for some, this score may be a bit surprising, but Washburn having some trouble finishing on fast breaks. They missed a lot of opportunities to create points off of turnovers, and Renikoff left an open layup that should have gone in short. Chase Coley has also struggled somewhat tonight. Shepard, that was off the mark. And both teams are too sound to underestimate an opponent, but seeing how well they dominated Tartan, you wonder what they'll need to do. Emma Shepard gets the steal and the finish, and Washburn couldn't ask for a better start. Como Park's end, they've been scrappy. It hasn't been the prettiest first half performance, but they fought off an early 11-2 Washburn run to take the lead back, and Andrayah Adams has been a solid leader for the group. Here she comes again for 3. That rims out, but that was a good shot. Rebound Zellner Smith. Renikoff dishes inside to Coley. Backdoor play is short. Rebound. Holdall can't finish. Holdall is still scoreless. Adams to Jerdrum. Coley with the block. Adams. Is called for the elbow. Offensive foul on the Cougars. Renikoff picks it up as Washburn looks for an option on the perimeter. And a timeout is called. Tyler Coley called it, and that cost Renikoff a chance at a three-pointer. But I'm not, from the look of his face, based on the body language, I don't think he's worried about that at the moment. 32 is the score. Both teams are tied at that mark. I spoke with Tyler Coley before the Tartan game, and at that stage he felt that Washburn could go the rest of the way in non-conference play without a loss following the defeat against Woodbury. But they're getting tested here, but that's why you get these challenges. He mentioned back in the Tartan game, and it's worth repeating again. If you play against the A schools or the lower level 2A, 3A teams, so sure you're going to win big, but you're not going to learn anything as you are in this game. Adversity is one of the best teaching tools in sports. Como Park playing his own defense. And considering Washburn's issues at the perimeter shooting, I'm not surprised by this formation. But John Robinson said they're a team that doesn't press a whole lot. And they force the turnover on Washburn. Como Park doesn't have the athleticism or the depth of the Millers either, so a zone defense is one way of maintaining energy. But Adams was in trouble. Coley with the steal. Dishing to Shepard. Mid-range J, swish. Emma Shepard with 13 points. She has the game high right now. And Adams is hit. She'll be called for the check foul. Or she'll draw the check foul, I should say. Emma Shepard averaging 7.3 points per game entering this contest. Five-second violation on Adams. As you've seen, Como Park, they've struggled a few times. In situations where they draw double, triple teams. Back to the zone defense for the Cougars. Coley calling for it, pump fakes, baseline drive. Doesn't get the basket, but she'll shoot a pair. Coley, the latest in a long line of athletes who have gone from Minnesota down to Iowa to play basketball. Among them, timeout called by Washburn. Among them, Kasheen Alexander, who in her junior season, I believe, earned the distinction of being one of two players in the entire NCAA, one of two guards to average a double-double in points and rebounds. De'Ara Taylor fought through multiple ACL injuries that easily could have sidelined her career and ended her optimism, but she pushed through and is a reliable supporting character in the Iowa Hawkeyes roster. Bethany Doolittle is down there from Hill Murray. Camille Walleen, another one. Recruited from Crookston. Chase Coley has a significant precedent. And if the recruiting of Lisa Bluter is any indication, Coley figures to have a remarkable career down for the Hawkeyes, or for the Hawkeyes. On Como Park's end, John Robinson says he believes the team is one good ball handler away from being a major threat in Class 3A. Coley with 10 points in the first half. One thing Washburn has been able to do, and again, it's staple of their more aggressive style of play compared to Como Park, is get to the free throw line. Como Park has just one trip. Coley splits. She's 5 of 8 for the game. Polishek with the rebound, and she's bailed out by the foul on Zellner Smith. Zellner Smith had Polishek pinned. But not for long. You also see a few players from St. Paul Central watching this game. Central having a history with both schools. Naturally, Como Park a conference foe, but a lot of players know each other from AAU, summer ball, social media, and the like. Central faced Washburn last year at the Twin Cities Championship. And their former head coach in attendance, Willie Taylor, now an assistant for Hamlin, here on a recruiting visit. But one of his assistants is the head coach of Como Park. Adams switches the triple. A dozen points for Andrayah Adams. We're tied at 35. John was an assistant when his daughter Angel played for the team, and one of Willie's former players, Daniel Ellison, is an assistant for Como Park. A very big connection in St. Paul. Adams pulls up. She's feeling it. 2 straight triples. And the Cougars are up 38-35. Hold all, short. Downing with the O-board. Renikoff lines it up. Bullseye. That time it is ruled a three-pointer. No question on that basket. We're trading triples. We're tied at 38. That was number 23, a number I don't have on the roster. She couldn't put that one in, though, and Coley had the rebound. Hold all out to Shepard. Baseline drive, draws a foul on Abigail Peterson. Inbound play successful. Pushing foul called. Coley up to 13 points. And Adams with the game high at 15. Miller's up by 2. But outside of an 11-2 run, no backcourt violation because it came on an inbound pass, or because it was an inbound pass. Outside of an 11-2 run that gave Washburn a bit of a cushion. Traveling violation, it would have been one anyway, as that pass was going to the backcourt. It's been a very close game, but John Robinson is getting a little more anxious, is off one his jacket. Downing, going to Patterson. Hold all, Renikoff, again trying to swing around to get around that Como Park zone. And Coley draws the foul on Polachek. And speaking of connections, an assistant head coach, or the assistant coach at Washburn, Percy Wade, was the former head coach at Bloomington Kennedy. In 2005, led that school to a 4A state championship over Hopkins. Patterson takes the three, can't hit it. Chase Coley, O-board, fade away, off the rim. Jasmine Thomas with the rebound. Steal by Renikoff. Looking for Holdall inside. It was deflected, and Thomas comes up with the steal. Adams pulls up, elbow, short. Thomas with the rebound, and you see that frequently. Jump ball, Como Park with the possession arrow. You see that frequently, what Thomas did. A lot of players are quick to get the ball up, try to make the basket coming off an offensive rebound instead of setting up another play. It's almost instinctive. Adams for three. Can't hit that one, but racing in for the rebound was Drum, but Coley pokes it away. Downing. She can't hit. Patterson on the rebound and the putback. Jasmine Patterson with her first basket. 42-38. Washburn with one of their tougher games this season. Double dribble violation on Adams. She's checked up and then moved again. That's a no-no. 11:28 on the clock. Renikoff feeding to Coley. Kicks out to Downing. Thought about the three, but will look for another option. Coley, low, draws a foul. Como Park with just one to give. Still a lot of time left in this one, but a lot of streaks at stake here. Or figures, I should say. Patterson missing the mid-range jumper. And Andrayah Adams is going to be called for the loose ball foul as she elbowed Chase Coley to the floor. And Como Park is out of fouls to give, so a gift for the Millers, who I think will be happy to just get out of here with the win. And for Como Park, it's another line as Renikoff missing another mid-range jumper. Coley, though, comes up with a steal. There's a scramble for the ball, and a pushing foul is called on Abby Peterson. Washburn is in the bonus. Como Park fans upset, understandably. And I say that because I'm not questioning the call, but they're supporting their team. Of course they're going to protest it. That will send Chase Coley to the line, though. Washburn in the bonus for the remainder of the game. Washburn has 3 fouls to give on their own. And Coley up to 15. Adams draws the blocking foul. And you see Chase Coley right away sending a word of encouragement to Olivia Downing. And as we talked about, much more verbal than she was last year. Understanding, because of her talent, she naturally is going to be a player looked upon to lead the group, and she is taking that role quite well. Adams can't get the layup, and it was last touched by Washburn, so a dead ball rebound to the Cougars, who trail by 6. Washburn looking to make that run. Patterson attempting to steal, but could not get there before it went out of bounds. Como Park continuing to deal with that face-up defense of Washburn. It's difficult to break at times. .23 can't hit it. We're still trying to get a name for her. Holdall missed that one. Holdall still has yet to make a field goal. Scramble for the ball, ends up in the hands of Holdall. She bounces to Coley. She's got one-on-one, and she'll draw another foul on Abby Peterson. And with a short Como Park roster, this is concerning a couple of these players. George Summer being one of them, had to play on the junior varsity roster, or play on both, I should say. And we noted this in the game between Tartan and Washburn. This is where Washburn's deeper roster comes into effect, the later stages of these contests. Miller's up by 8, approaching their largest lead of the game, but Adams with the kiss off the glass. That pushes her to 17. Coley, turnaround, no. Gets her own rebound. Renikoff is fouled. More free throws coming. Washburn using another timeout with 9:41 left. Still a lot of time, so a lot of situations are possible in this contest. Coley should have her double-double by now. As we mentioned, one triple-double last season. All but 2 of her games ended in double-doubles, and she even posted a quadruple-double last year. One of a select handful of players to do so. Washburn getting production primarily from Coley and Emma Shepard. Shepard has had her rough spots, but she does have 13 points, and Coley is simply Chase Coley. The brilliant, versatile forward, giving a high five to Patterson. Very communicative. Como Park, Andrayah Adams has 17. Jerdrum had 9 in the first half, has not scored so far in this half. Renikoff to shoot 2. And the numbers evening out for the Millers as their trips to the free throw line grow. Renikoff up to 9, 48-40. In favor of Washburn. Adams bouncing it. Abigail Peterson with it. Jerdrum. Zanash Jerdrum. Blocked by Coley. Patterson picks it up. Coley recovers it. Patterson will elect to drive, and she draws a foul, so Patterson will go to the free throw line. Daznae Patterson, 6 of 8 in the first 6 games of the season from the free throw line. Not a great field goal shooter, but one of the younger members of the Washburn roster. Just under 3 points per game. And here comes Alex Peterson. But Como Park is going to have to keep an eye on the foul situation again because they have just 8 players available. De'Ama Griffiths and Caitlin Jones not in the lineup for the Cougars. Patterson splits, Coley with the O-board and the finish. Classic Chase Coley on that possession. And Washburn with their largest lead of the game. Adams, off balance, pure. She has 19. Como Park extending their zone. Coley, double teamed. She goes off balance and gets the left-handed hook. Almost effortlessly. 53-42, Washburn with a considerable margin. Adams against Patterson. That was off of Jazane Patterson, so Como Park keeps it. Abby consoling Andrayah Adams there, trying to keep her head in this one. Adams, a sophomore. And as you've seen a few times tonight, can create her own shot, but understands the flow of the game. Jerdrum missing the three-pointer. This is a big chance for Washburn to go up. Zellner Smith draws the foul. Zellner Smith has made a couple of free throws tonight. We've discussed her numbers in detail. And she's turning it around. Had a goose egg coming into this game. And that number will bounce up a little bit. Adams pulls up. That's a little high. Here's Renikoff. She dishes out to Holdall, who fakes the shot and backs off. Washburn displaying some more poise in the last few minutes as Coley gets a friendly bounce. Another off-balance J. Jerdrum bounces to Polachek. Jerdrum had an opening though. Coley gets a hand on it. Jerdrum throws it up, and there's another example of what we talk about in offensive rebounds. Right away, players throw it up instead of setting up. Peterson, no. And Jazane Patterson with the rebound. And this might be enough for Washburn to pull away if they can score in this possession. They have a 15-point lead. Coley left alone. She'll make you pay for it. 25 points for Chase Coley. And Washburn still playing full court defense. Adams. Under a collapsing hole. Can't get it past Coley. Renikoff, short. That's a second transition attempt to come up empty. Abby Peterson from 15, can't get the bounce. And players are perhaps wearing out. Holdall left alone. Kick ball on Jerdrum. Holdall opted not to take the three. And as we get another timeout call by Como, it's understandable why Holdall fakes a lot of three-point attempts. Coming into this game, she shot just 18% from behind the arc, so not a strong distance shooter. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, this is the first of 3 games this week for Washburn. After Edina, they'll get a couple of weeks off before they resume action in January. And this Como Park team is getting better, and again, they had a strong first half. And what they do with a short-handed team is remarkable. Again, going through injuries and some personal issues, but health will likely need to return to this team in full as Coley hits the long-range 2 from 18 feet. That is an element as Jasmine Patterson is called for the push from behind on Jerdrum. That is an element that has stepped up, as we noted. Coley can hit the longer jumpers. Reminiscent of what Elena Deladon and Delisha Milton-Jones and so many other posts can do, even Rebecca Brunson. Jasmine Thomas, backdoor play, count it! And Como Park gets a needed basket, but I don't know if they'll have enough time for a comeback. And Jasmine Thomas, this is just the second trip to the free throw line of this game for the Cougars. Jasmine Thomas stepped on the line, so no offensive rebound. 5:53 left, and it looks like Washburn will comfortably escape with a win. If they do, they go to 5-2 on the year. This has not been the greatest of games for Lucia Renikoff. Adams weaving through. Thomas in trouble. Draws the foul on Coley, so free throws will be coming. Washburn out of fouls to give, but with 5:29 left, Como Park would need a big spark here. Thomas with an unusual shooting form. Just had 7 points on the season coming into this game. She's up to 5 here. Washburn with a 16-point lead, and they can coax the clock here at the 5:20 mark if they so choose. Coley is showing some ball handling skills. We mentioned she gets hit for the 5-second violation, held on to it for too long. We mentioned she is up there in assists, near the state lead in that category. 3rd if you go by her average. But held onto the ball a little too long there, and that's all right. Washburn will get the steal. Kendra Zellner-Smith looking for a transition finish. And once again, Washburn really struggling in the early part of the season on those open looks. Andrayah Adams with a big swat. Holdall's there to retrieve it, but Adams, I'm sure that'll pump her up. Renikoff for 3, off the rim, no good. And Peterson draws the foul. I didn't see much contact, but that means a trip to the free throw line with Como Park in the bonus. And that stops the clock with 4:45 left. Abigail Peterson got some action early. Not much action in the second half. That was her first point. Makes both free throws. It's a 14-point game. And Abigail Peterson up to 6 points. And you could say keeping those two from influencing the game, the Peterson twins, as Coley on the drive, lays it in. Unofficially, I've got Coley at 29 points. That's about her season average, 29.2 to be precise. And when you have an anchor as strong as she is, adversity won't hurt you for long. Adams open for three, but that's short. Coley with another rebound. Figures to have her 7th double-double of the season. Wesley is fouled. She'll shoot a pair. Wesley averaging 3.3 points per game. Doesn't see a whole lot of action, but when she's on the floor, an accurate floor shooter, 63%. And she has officially made her first free throw of the season. But that's all she'll make, at least in this trip. Full court defense again. Adams gets it off to Thomas, and she gets the bounce. Coley couldn't get the block that time. Jasmine Thomas has matched her season high in scoring. Coley, can she get 30? Yes! Coley with a great post-up move, and that's difficult to stop against some of the younger, less experienced players. Peterson trying to bounce it to her sister, can't do so, and now there's a scramble, jump ball, and Washburn has the possession arrow, 66-49. One-woman show primarily for the Millers, but Chase Coley can get enough points for you where that's all you need. In Coma Park, only one double-digit scorer to this point, and that is Adams. Emma Shepard back on the floor. And another timeout with 3:01 left. Washburn up by 17. We talked about closing out. Tyler Coley was a little bit irked at Tartan's run at the end of the game. At that point, there was not enough time for them to come back, but he doesn't want his team getting complacent or lackadaisical even with a victory clinched. He wants them to stay aggressive, and for the most part, this team, and I've seen this from the Tartan game and I'm seeing it here, they're problem solvers, and that semifinal loss to New Richland has motivated the group, akin to what the Minnesota Lynx did this year, using the loss in last year's finals when they were expected to win as a motivation for their mission. John Robinson was looking at this game as a chance to continue the growth and learning for this short, younger group. They had a solid season, as we mentioned in the last Como Park broadcast. 19-7 was their mark. Strong record, and they almost beat St. Paul Central. Played two close games against their conference foe. That would have put them in the championship game. Traveling violation on Shepard. Dragged her pivot foot. Coley with another rebound. Leads the state in that category with 18.7 a game entering this contest, and those numbers will remain healthy. Coley to Shepard, bouncing. Renikoff open three, misses. But the right idea for Washburn, using the inside to draw the coverage in. Adams on the drive, gets the bounce. And for the 5th straight game, as Como Park calls timeout, Andrayah Adams has crossed the 20-point barrier. (66-51). Washburn will go to 5-2. Como Park will fall to 2-4. One point of discussion prior to this season, following last year's state tournament, between Tyler Coley and Ray Finley, the former head coach at Providence Academy, and this game is perhaps telling of that theory, was the 2A class beyond De La Salle and Red Wing, and maybe Richfield, was better, if not equal, to the 3A group last year, considering the talent of 2A teams that littered the field. Washburn had to take down the perennial state participant Minnehaha Academy Redhawks to qualify. That won't be an issue this year. Minnehaha staying in 2A, Washburn in 3A. And Como Park putting up a challenge in this game. And for the Cougars, the learning process is a methodical one, because John Robinson will only run plays that the players are absolutely knowledgeable about. They'll put in some new schemes, of course, during practices throughout the year, but during games, he's not going to try anything the players aren't comfortable with to make sure they understand how to execute it properly. Dead ball rebound to Minneapolis Washburn. Coley missing a couple of baskets, but it will be of little consequence at this point. Drum can't get the bounce, and Coley with another board. Renikoff stuck on the baseline, finds an open Patterson. Patterson switches the three-pointer. That brings her total up to 6 for the game. We mentioned Coley's rebounding numbers, staying healthy. Why is that key? It's going to be a foul and a chance at free throws for Andrayah Adams. Last year, Coley had the 3rd highest single season total in rebounds. And if Washburn makes another deep run, it's reasonable to believe Chase Coley could make a run at that mark. She is already the queen of blocks, that much we know. Career rebounds, she would need a lot to catch Sari Noga of Parker's Prairie for the all-time mark, but one of the most prolific post players the state has seen. Adams, elbow, short. Jasmine Thomas with the rebound, and Como Park applauding the effort, even though they're going to come up short in this one. Thomas already matching her season high. And Andrayah Adams will remain on the cusp of the state scoring list with her 22-point performance. We have another timeout for a substitution as a player fouled out for Washburn. I'm not sure who, but it's of no consequence at this point. The reason I don't is because it's not listed in the scoreboard. Looks like it may have been Kendra Zellner-Smith who was disqualified. Jasmine Thomas matched her season high already. And it's a note of encouragement that regardless of the outcome, Como Park is competing for longer durations. The Park Center game, it was close for about 10 minutes. Park Center ran away. Maranatha, 28 turnovers. That's not going to keep you in contention. De La Salle, they were very close to stealing a win on the road. And they picked up wins against South St. Paul and Richfield. Building a program can be a tedious process. But if you're willing to work through the harrowing situations, there's a significant payoff. Jasmine Thomas with the new season high at 9. And what this game came down to, we talk about support players. Durdrum had a huge first half with 9 points. A spectator in this half, the Peterson twins, only able to get up 6. Coley adds one more for the highlight reel. 33. And Coley not far behind Carly Wagner for the state scoring title this season. Those two we've mentioned play each other. New Richland and Washburn at Owatonna in the middle of January. You know that's going to be an impressive duel. Abigail Peterson will pad her numbers. She goes up to 8. But Washburn will notch another quality win as they go to 5-2 on the season. Renikoff with a reverse layup, and she needed that after so many baskets came up empty for the junior point guard. Five seconds left. Jasmine Thomas will get the basket and have a shot for a three-point play as she cracks double digits for the first time this season. Jasmine Thomas, the 5'7" junior forward. And Coley will finally step out after 33 points and what feels like the same number for rebounds. Cougars will regroup, but they have a couple points to be proud about. The 22-point effort from Adams and the 12 points from Jasmine Thomas. Buzzer sounds, 73-59 the final. Washburn moves to 5-2. Como Park falls to 2-4. We'll try to get a word with some of the players in a moment. This is high school basketball on TSB television. Minneapolis Washburn getting the win. Mike Beaton here with Emma Shepard from Minneapolis Washburn, and we're kind of cycling through the roster because we're covering a lot of Washburn games this season. But Emma, you were the recipient of many passes from Chase Coley going inside and out. Tell me how that chemistry is working out for you in the early part of the season.
It's pretty good. Usually, it's just a lot of the teams we play think that it's like Chase Coley that we're gonna get to her, which is good because then when everyone draws to her, there's a lot of open passes, and lots of times you just got to try to find the open spot.
And you have the talent certainly to do it, and everyone, they see Chase's numbers and figure, oh, we'll just stop her, and you're able to make them pay for it. So how are you able to work your way into some of those spaces tonight?
I don't know. Usually just trying to, I try to like cut up a lot and just cut down, just try to find the open spot mainly just to, I don't know.
Como Park gave you a challenge. They were up at halftime 32-30. I'm not sure many were expecting that, and you had to work until midway through the second half where you pulled away for good. How did you get through that challenge?
I think really just staying in the game and making sure that we run through our plays and just slowing down, because we had a lot of fast breaks, but they just ended up turning back into turnovers because we were just going too fast. But once we finally got it to like slow down and play our game, that's when we really got to pull back.
And can you discuss that, because we've covered a couple of games now, and they're a very fast-paced team. You push the tempo, but you're still working on finishing some of those transition attempts. How do you smooth those out as the season progresses?
Really just working on it more at practice and running through practice like it's game time, and just making sure that everything that we do, we know what we're doing.
And what would you say about the continuity of this team overall? Because even though the games haven't been your perfect game, I don't think you could. It's really hard to achieve that perfect game for any team, but this team plays with a lot of motivation after what happened last year.
Yeah, really, I think our main goal is just for everyone we got to try to make it back to state and push. And now that we're 3A, it's going to be a lot harder, but we just got to push through it.
And how do you think the return of so many veterans is helping this group out as they move to 5-2?
A lot of experience and just knowing like the tempo of the game, but otherwise, I think we'll be fine this year.
You've got two games back-to-back, Roosevelt at 7, Edina at 1. So how do you get ready for that in a quick turnaround?
Really just remembering what we have to do and making sure that we go home after Roosevelt and sleep and eat fine next day.
Eat a lot of bananas. That's my... And finally, anyone you want to say hi to that might be watching this online or on TV?
My dad. Hey, Dad.
So are you going to try to get 33 points in the next game that Chase racked up tonight?
I'd love to. I'll try.
But, hey, your 13 points were valuable, and congratulations on holding out and beating Como Park. I guess we'll be seeing you for the Edina game, so hopefully I won't be on the watch list before then.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Emma Shepard, and get some rest before you're back-to-back.
All right, thank you.